Yeah. So good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So good morning, guys. Today we will be going to talk about a lot of other stuff like NFTs, what are DAOs, and basically we have some like another sort of queries that we'll be covering up in this interview with Wilder, who is an CMO of Algogems, which is an NFT based project, and they are on Algorand chain, and they are doing some amazing work. So we are going to learn some amazing things about it, and for sure. So let's start with it. Why don't you just brief us about yourself and how are you doing today? And that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. And about myself, I was someone who was very knowledgeable about crypto mining and was doing a lot of research into proof of stake and alternatives to proof of work. And that's how I
Okay.
found myself in Algorand. That was my journey deeper into cryptocurrency and how I'm in the position I'm in today.
Yeah.
Started with passion in crypto mining and transferred into passion about the blockchain and how efficient it can be as a technology.
That's amazing. That's great to hear. Thank you so much for giving us the introduction. And there's a lot of things are going on around like NFTs, and like there is a lot of crazy stuff is going on in India as well. Like there are a lot of celebrities right now getting into NFTs, and they're launching their own stuff. And I believe people actually want to learn about like what is an NFT and what kind of problem it is solving, and definitely will come to but how Algogems is solving some of the best problems. So just introduction, like how you can explain to a newbie what is the NFT.
So I think starting with explaining an NFT by calling it a non-fungible token doesn't really help anybody who doesn't know what an NFT is. I think an easy way to look at it and something that you may have heard before in the past is when people talk about photography or they have the original image or that whole idea of like being a paparazzi trying to get being the first to have something or having that ownership over something.
Yeah.
I'm using an image in this example, but that idea of ownership and being able to transfer ownership using the blockchain, which
Yeah.
is great for trustless transactions, that's all an NFT is. It's something that it's a one of one, it's a unique thing. And it's different from Bitcoin, where you have 21 million that are all fungible between each other. An NFT in its purest form is a one of one creation. It can't be separated into any smaller pieces. And that single asset on the chain is that non fungible token or that unique asset. So it's getting very popular with celebrities, like you mentioned, where they can
Absolutely.
say, this is my art, I made this, and there's only one of it, and whoever owns it will have the honor of owning my first NFT, right? It'd be very similar to people being excited about a celebrity painting something, and
Yeah.
everyone having a chance to win it. The difference is we don't have to worry about shipping, and everybody in the world can verify this person won the contest and this person got it. And you don't need to get shipping involved or people's identities. So a little
Absolutely.
roundabout, but that's an NFT.
That's a great overview of an NFT. Like basically transferring often a digital ownership, having that sort of digital ownership that could be transferable on the blockchain, and that is one of the most trusted method, I believe, and over basically circulating and sharing stuff online, and like this is a kind of asset that we can say definitely. Thank you so much for giving us that sort of a statement around NFTs. And I believe, like just coming back to like how Algogems is currently solving some of the major issues in the space, and how are unique from the other place. And on Algorand, definitely there's ton of lot of great stuff is currently happening on the chain, and you guys are definitely have a great spot on the Algorand chain. So why don't you give us an idea about Algogems overall?
Yeah, so Algo Gems started originally actually as a project on Algorand called My Pick NFT. The
Uh-huh.
team was much smaller back then. It then we more people were brought on, and it became Algo Gems, and that came with support from the Algorand Foundation to build our NFT marketplace. When it started, it kind of started when NFTs were uh, I don't want to say in their infancy because there was a lot going on in Ethereum for multiple years, but when NFTs started to become popular on multiple chains,
Mhm.
our team sort of focused in on what chain has the best technology to support NFTs. And this is a very important piece to all of this. Algorand, as far as I know, is the only chain that does not fork and mathematically cannot fork. So
Yep.
you'll hear a lot of chains advertising that they can fork, or at least being somewhat proud of it. Like a bug is a feature, as far as I'm concerned. That's the way I look at it. Algorand
Mhm.
is different, where I'll use this as a very simple example. If you have a Bored Ape on Ethereum, right, a very popular NFT, and
Yep.
Ethereum forks, you now have that asset on each side of the fork. On
Yep.
Algorand, it does not fork. It is impossible to fork, mathematically impossible to fork. So you have no risk of your proof of ownership being on two different blockchains at once, because you know that that was the impetus to use Algorand as the home of the NFT marketplace.
Got
The
it.
other
Yeah.
as the other aspect is Algorand has extremely low transaction fees, and we were able to make a marketplace where we cover the fees and allow people to get their cryptocurrency start creating NFTs. And we've seen that many times over, where someone can come in, an artist, someone who's passionate about creating, has an internet connection, and they can get their first algo and get their start in cryptocurrency. So I think the vision originally for Algogems was NFTs for everybody, removing the barriers to entry to
Great.
creating your NFT.
Amazing, amazing. That's amazing to hear about. And definitely, I believe like Algorand, the kind of work that Algorand chain is currently doing, and that is definitely futuristic, and that is actually the meaning of the actual decentralization, I believe. And so definitely, also I wanted to discuss, like I was having a little bit of understanding about Algogems, and so do we have our own voting and governance or on Algogems as well?
Yeah. So that's what the token sort of centers around. You can be an
Yeah.
Algogems creator, an NFT user, a purchaser, and you do
Uh-huh.
not need to hold the token. The token is in place to actually allow the platform to scale. This is a different focus, but when you zoom out of what chain your NFT marketplace is on, and you look at what it takes to run an NFT marketplace, you need people who are competent devs, obviously, a good front end experience and a good back end experience. But there is a
Absolutely.
load of work. There is a load of work that needs to happen with verifying profiles and
Yeah.
seeing if people are fraudulent. And
Absolutely.
as
Yeah.
you
This is the main
as
problem.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yeah, it definitely slows it down, and it's not something where you can program your way out of it. A lot of it is getting eyes on it, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours, a lot of man hours going through it, and it can be tedious work, especially if it's the work is being carried by one individual, and that
Yeah.
individual also has the responsibility. What Algogems does,
Yeah.
and what we've done with our token, is we have created a governance where inside of it users are
Hmm.
able to vote on verifying up and down, banning profiles, and spotlighting profiles on the homepage, and they get a percentage of our marketplace fees. But they do all of that work involved with verifying a profile and allow us to scale to onboarding 50 users a week or 500 users a week. We're able to
Oh,
use our governance to do all of that work and have, in almost all cases, over 50 eyes on every single profile before it goes through a verification. So that's what Algogems
that's.
allows us to do. The token, it allows our NFT marketplace to scale and
Mhm.
reward people who help us with moderation and curation.
That's the futuristic work that we wanted to discuss around the what Algogems has done, and that's one of the very unique feature I believe that no one has done in the past, and basically that's the kind of need that people wanted to get on in any of the marketplace that you guys have done some amazing work for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
So also wanted to understand, like as you have given us the idea about like how you get involved with Algogems, or if you can brief us like how you connected with the Algogems particularly. You have given us the idea like how you basically attracted towards Algorand chain. So if you can tell us like how Algogems was the thing for you particularly.
Yes, yeah. So that was I actually came into Algorand. originally, like I said earlier, I was mining. So I had
Yeah.
quite close ties with the Ethereum chain, and being on the Ethereum chain and not being a millionaire, I wasn't happy with the fees either. So I think I've done a very similar journey to almost anyone who's used Ethereum, where you chase fees down to the lowest. So Binance was the first jump for me. And then from
Yeah.
Binance, I was
No
looking
problem.
at I wasn't really, Polygon wasn't as hot back then. Polygon wasn't really the next option after that. I was going into like, do I want to use Phantom or Harmony? And I was really getting the fees down to where it was like minuscule, and it didn't feel like the fee to use the blockchain was impacting what I wanted to do on the blockchain. Like I wasn't being held back because I was worried about fees. I was able to use the blockchain how I wanted. And
Mhm.
at that time, Algorand didn't even have DeFi on it. When I came onto Algorand, it was actually when they updated the chain to allow smart contracts and more
Oh.
sophistication on chain. So
Mhm.
they opened the doors. They allowed this to happen. I came in first using Yieldly, which was a very simple staking platform, a way to distribute rewards. It was a very early ecosystem at the time, but I came
Yeah.
in through Yieldly. I got to experience kind of the birth of DeFi on this chain. And one of the projects that was around at that time was Algogems, and they were talking about content moderation, this DAO. I was learning a lot about NFTs, but I didn't know very much. And it was my gateway into both the NFT space, because I felt like that was where there was a lot of innovation, but more
Mhm.
so it allowed me to get very involved in Algorand itself. I love the chain. Once I used it, having a transaction clear in 4.5 seconds, I didn't really need to look anywhere else. I was very satisfied with the functionality of the chain. And getting involved with the NFT side of it, a lot of it was to do with the community. I really
Okay.
enjoyed a community that had a lot of creators in it, and I
Mhm.
think people who use NFT marketplaces a lot, you'll notice that the community that builds around an NFT marketplace, creators are just as passionate about the platform as an investor in the platform, if not more, I'd say. I think
Amazing.
that there's a huge focus from the creative community to always make the platform better. And the way that we empower them, right? Like I was saying earlier, a creator who got their cryptocurrency start on Algogems,
Mhm.
the passion those people have in the community, that's what really kept me around, to be honest. There's a lot of chains that do a lot of great things, but it was a mixture of how great Elgorand was and how
Yeah.
wholesome the NFT community was. That's what made me kind of stick around, and why I'm still here to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of motivation that community puts into you, and basically to do some great work for the Web3
Yes.
ecosystem overall. And yeah, coming back to this, as we were discussing about the creators, and how we know the kind of potential and how blockchain is one of the fastest growing technology at this point of time. And so we wanted to understand like how a blockchain is, what do you see, how blockchain will revolutionize the whole creators community and artistic on music industry overall, and what's the kind of impact that we can create with algogems. Definitely that will come to you. So definitely first question around like how, what is the kind of how blockchain will revolutionize this whole creators industry and artistic and music industry. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's starting. It's going to start slow, because anyone who's used blockchain knows there's a lot of education that's involved. You've got to learn a lot yourself. You need to learn about custody of your assets and things like that. Blockchain itself, that public ledger, and Elgorand, well, I'll use Elgorand specifically, a currency that
Absolutely.
is more efficient than our traditional rails to do a transaction, whether that's Swift
Yes.
or just counting the energy use per transaction. So from that standpoint, I don't want to argue that too much, because I feel like that is more, if you build it, they will come. And as there is a ever better technology to do very simple transactions, which is most of the economy, right? I give you this, you give me that. If we have a better system to do that, that will be adopted. When I focus in on the creator economy, which is very unique, because creatives come in all shapes and sizes, all forms. People they may be a tattoo artist, for example. There are many different ways that people express themselves or can be creative, writing a book, and the ways that they can monetize it have expanded, have grown. And as NFTs grow, it is a new there was no ecosystem to sell people digital art trustlessly before blockchain came in, and
Absolutely.
certainly not
Mhm.
accessible to everybody. So I think the implications right now are very focused on the what I'll call the lower end of the creator economy, newer creators, people who are looking for a place to get a start, and they don't have an exposure or communities already where they feel like they're giving up on their physical community by investing in their
Mhm.
digital community. To them, it's their start and this is their community, period. And those creators, I think NFTs speak to directly. You can become a digital creator. You no longer have to be a physical creator and peddle your stuff from a table or go around and ask a lot of galleries if they can show your work.
Yeah,
We've
yes.
given people a place to essentially, and how it's named on the website, you can make your own gallery. When it comes down to creative pieces, I was talking about like the lower end and the higher end for value, I'll call it, right? There's a lot of volume in under $5 US NFTs, right? Smaller creations, they
Mhm.
mean something to the individual, they mean something to someone else, and there's that exchange.
Yeah.
That's what I'll call lower end or lower value transfers. I see NFTs currently being adopted very much by higher end sales where it's millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars, where the artist likes this because they can enforce the royalty.
Yeah.
So people may not know this from who aren't in the art space already, but it's very commonplace for a very high end artist to have an agent, have a trusted auction house, and almost all of their works are always going to be traded in the same public format. And it's up to the person who purchases their art to honor that, to come back and use those people to sell it essentially.
Right. Yeah.
On that same note, because it's all happening in the real world and it's not on chain, there's a lot of shadiness where artwork may end up in someone else's place. Someone may trade it for a very low price, and royalties don't really get into the situation anymore. That artist
Yeah.
loses that other form of revenue.
Absolutely.
NFTs are doing an excellent job of enforceable royalties because the ownership is public. Everybody knows who owns it. You can
Yeah.
also very easily say, you just sold this, you just gave it to somebody, you owe me a royalty, that type of
Royally.
thing.
Yeah.
So right now those are the two main use cases.
Absolutely.
When I see the middle filling in and what I think it will take for that, for sort of everybody to be comfortable with having an NFT, you may have art on the wall, but instead of having a physical picture frame, it's a screen, right? And it's used to display NFTs, that type of a movement, if you will. I see that happening when the education for blockchain and the friction is lowered, right? I
Mhm.
don't want to, I
Right.
feel like we're almost in like a dial up era for blockchain where it's usable. You can use it if you're a kid, but it's a pain to use right now. There can be a lot of pain points, whether it's your centralized exchange, whether you're having trouble with seed phrases. It's not intuitive in all
Yeah.
cases. Just give us time. That's all I have to say there. Just give us a
Absolutely.
year,
There is
2 years. We'll keep building it, and it'll be as easy as possible.
absolutely. We believe in you, and definitely, and based on the kind of developments that are happening in the ecosystem, and we believe like everything is going to ease out very soon, and so that it would be more comfortable for to get onboarded the next set of millions of users into NFT space, and definitely onto Algogems. And
Yeah.
so what we believe is definitely this is the kind of points that those were the pain points actually, like people were not getting like that sort of royalties, and because there are bigger institutions who are getting a big chunk out of it, out of their creations, and NFTs are solving these great problems amazingly. And this is definitely I believe this is one of the major use case that anyone can come across. And so coming back to the point, basically how blockchain is coming into the model with the ownership and with the rights, and basically as a user, what exactly you guys see proper, like coming from a proper journey on the Algogems platform, like how anyone can come, and for a
Oh,
new user, for a new
yeah.
user I'm talking about. So if you can guide us through a proper and guide through like how anyone can get started with Algogems. Yeah.
Certainly, certainly. So, people will be happy to know if you go to the site. There's a lot of information there to help you along the way. on top of what I'm going to tell you right now. So if you're a new user, you've never used Algorand before, the very first thing I would recommend you do is get a wallet. So you can choose a browser wallet, you can choose a desktop wallet, or what I think is the best option right now is you can go to the App Store, whether you're iOS, Android, and you can download an app called Wallet. That's an Algorand wallet, and it adds a two-factor authentication where you got to sign something on a different device than you're doing your transactions on most of the time, right? It gives an extra barrier and that extra security I value, so that's why I recommend people use it. But we'll use Wallet for this example. So there's no getting around this point. You got to write down your 25-word seed phrase. You got to keep it safe. You need to understand what it is you have right there, right? Keep it safe and don't screenshot it. Don't send pictures around. Just write it down. Maybe write it down twice. Give one to your mom. Hold on to the other one, and that's it. Now you have a wallet. Now you have an Algorand wallet specifically. It's very easy after this, actually. If you're someone coming in with no crypto, so you're not going to be someone who's going to be purchasing something because you have no buying power right now. But if you're a creative, if you're an artist, if you have something you want to share with the world, and this can be digital, like AI generated art, art is such a broad thing. I'm sure most people, if they were to look into themselves, they could find some way to express themselves where someone can view it online. So you have video, music, still images. There's so many options to express yourself. So
play out. Right.
Exactly. So with your wallet, you'll go to algogems.io. You'll hit the create button right on the top of the screen. It'll ask you to log in. You've got your wallet now. You have your wallet. You'll scan that QR code. You'll log in, and the first thing it'll ask you to do is upload a media type. So you, like I said earlier, images, video, audio, whatever it is, upload your images, upload your files, go to the next page, and you're given an option on that next page, and it's this easy. It's a clicker that says free to mint. And all this means is that we are going to cover the costs on the blockchain, those minuscule costs to get your NFT made, and we still allow you to sell it. We'll host the listing, you sell it, you still get all the proceeds, you get all the royalties and everything. This is our ability to onboard a new user because it's good for our platform. The more users we have in our creator economy, it's good for us and it's good for you. It's a mutually assigned incentives. Yeah. So
I believe
so
like this really is one of the best sort of onboarding process that anyone can come across.
It's people don't believe it when I say that it's literally nothing. You hit that free to mint button. You will need, you can do it yourself. You'll have no algo in your wallet. You'll be able to mint this NFT. You'll be able to list it for sale. You can sell it, and I've worked with creators who this is their start. They make their first pieces, whether they've sketched something out on paper, scanned it, taken a very nice picture of it. After they've done their sketch, they include in the description some ownership rights saying, if you own this, you can resell it, you can put it up on your wall, whatever you want to give them with your NFT. Algorand to having some Algorand, and once you have some Algorand, you can do 1,000 transactions on one algo. You can do 1,000 transactions on one algo. So when people are selling their first NFTs for like 5 algo, 10 algo, they're kind of setting themselves up for many years into the future for being able to use the blockchain. And it is as easy as clicking a button to free to mint, and you'll have no cost. So it's a very smooth user experience. We're trying to make it that way. We want people to use this functionality. And what I would say to new creators is you don't need to read our terms of service. You don't need to go through all of our all of what we have written for how to use the website. But I will say this because I don't want to assume it's common knowledge, but there are some images where you're stealing someone's work and making an NFT. That's fraudulent. That's a lot different than making an NFT. Just because you're the first person to put it on the blockchain doesn't make it yours. So I know that's common sense to a lot of people. To new people watching this and who want to get involved, just look inside, find something creative. It can be from your past, and start there, and you'll have success. People will connect with your emotion and what you write about your NFT. So that's my big advice, is to do something honest, and that's what your buyer will connect with, your honesty.
Definitely. I guess that is one of the major issues that we have solved to basically onboard next set of creators onto Algogems. And kudos to you guys as well as Algorand team basically for creating these sort of infrastructure for sure, and basically allowing people to transact on blockchain with a very minimal fees. And definitely, and you guys are basically doing, taking it to the next level, like no minting fees. That is definitely
Yes, yes,
the thing.
none, zero.
None, zero major. So amazing.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you want to, if anyone listening as a creator, if you want to list it on maybe on the Ethereum chain or something like that, you may need to basically lend your car or something to basically cover up the transaction fees. But here it is
Yeah.
free basically to get your particular creations listed without any sort of cost. And Algogems is here for covering all the cost of the listings and minting. So definitely, you guys, you should check it out. And next, as we've talked about the gems, how gems is playing some amazing role in the voting and basically making this whole marketplace, our Algogems marketplace, a great place, avoiding the fake profiles and everything. So I wanted to understand like how people can hold gems and how people can play with it and can participate in the governance. What would be the onboarding process for that?
So our governance opens up the window for you to be able to stake for governance and participate happens at the end of every period. So our periods are 13 weeks long or 3 months roughly, or around like a quarterly schedule, which people may be used to. And the the staking is quite different on Algorand versus other chains. So to answer your question directly, how you get involved, you need to have some algo gems. So you can sell your creations in Algogems. You can sell creations in USDC or Ethereum or Bitcoin. There's many currency options, but the currency you need to participate is Algogems. When you have that currency, it's quite simple to stake. It's called snapshot staking. So the asset never leaves your wallet, which I think is very safe and very secure, and people may not be used to, but is quite commonplace on Algorand.
Yeah.
So when you have when you have one algo gem, let's just use one. The minimum unit you need to have is one to be able to participate. There's 6 decimals. One algo gem right now is I think 15 cents US. There's 10 million
Mhm.
total. It's quite accessible to be able to get one into your hands.
Mhm.
The one algo gem, when you have it and when the staking window is open, we let people know. There'll be announcements and everything. You'll know when you're able to stake. There's a page right from the very top. It's called governance. You'll click it, and you're brought there. And all you do is you hit a button, and what it does is it signs it's a signing transaction, which people should be familiar with. And what it signs is what the balance of algo gems you have in your wallet at this time. And what it's looking for essentially is, does this user's balance over the period of governance, has it ever fallen below that number that they staked, that number that they committed, right? If you fall
Mhm.
below that number, you're out of it. If you have one gem and you hold your one gem, you don't have to worry about it. You're in. And
Mhm.
the staking process is that easy. The gems stay in your wallet. You sign a transaction. It has some numbers in the memo field. It's that easy, right? You never have to worry about, are they going to turn withdrawals off on me or any of that. They stay in your custody the whole
Yeah.
entire time, and it removes the the incentive for someone to exploit the system as well, which I think is important. We can promise you security, but you still have to rely on our security. In this system, you don't use any of our security. It's as strong as you protecting those 25 words. So that's how the staking looks like on chain. What the user experiences is they commit their one gem, they commit an amount, and then they have a governance dashboard. So from here, you see multiple categories, whether they're big votes. So an example of a big vote is where we pick 3 options as leaders of Algogem. So it's ourselves and our partners, and we provide options, and the community votes on them. So our big vote 6 weeks ago was they decided the marketplace fee structure. So we were charging 2.5%, but they chose whether people who had very low volume had no fees and those minutia. But dialing in macro decisions, that's big votes. So that's something that governors get to take part in. But the bread and butter and the big thing is verifying, banning, and spotlighting. So those are
Yeah,
available
yeah.
all governance long. And the way it looks is when someone applies for governance, they enter the queue with a 1 week timer. So there's a rolling 1 week window that anyone who goes through governance, any person who's in governance, whether you have 1 gem or 10,000, they get to assign a vote, either a yay or a nay for how
Yeah.
they approve of the profile, right? So there is a so right now it's 1 gem equals 1 vote. So there are currently millions of gems. About a third of our supply is in the governance right now participating, and
That's good.
people with 1 gem, they can propose people to be banned, they can propose people to be spotlighted, and they can still see the actual system, but they may not be able to sway votes per se. The incentive structure or the idea behind governance is the governors are rewarded with a percent of the marketplace fees. So if you want a higher APR, you need to have a more successful marketplace. So our biggest focus when we created this DAO is aligning incentive structures. So
Yeah.
regardless of whether you have 1 million gems or you have 1 gem, you should still want what's best for the ecosystem or what's best for Algogems itself at heart.
Yep.
And that doesn't change between whether you have 1 or 1 million. We have been tracking these numbers essentially, but the idea is everybody can see what goes on in the background. You can see how many votes are happening for verifying, banning, spotlighting, and whether you have 1 gem or you have 1 million gems, you can still get in there. You can still be involved and have a voice. There's some other benefits that I could get into where like there's commemorative NFTs that we're going to be giving out for people who have governed. In the
Oh,
future, in the future, there'll be the ability to delegate a portion of your vote or your vote to someone else who is very good at governing and sharing a little bit of the rewards. So
okay.
isolating people who are passionate about moderating, go that extra mile, send an email out asking people for details. Like you wouldn't believe how much effort people are putting into governance right now, where multiple people will chase down one profile from all different angles, and you'll have that creator come in DM'd from 5 different people. I don't know, and they're all governors. They're all trying to see if you're a real person. So that idea that it's a group effort and everyone's aligned and everyone's incentives are aligned in this governance to work together. That's the broad view of the system. As an individual, if you have 1 gem, you can get in there. You can still have your votes. You can see what goes on under the curtain, and you can also propose people to be banned, which I think is a very important job. It involves a lot of like going through the website and looking for fraudulent work, but
Yes,
I think
that's
that's
really important. Yeah.
that's a lot of power as well to give a user with 1 gem. You're able to propose someone to be banned, and that goes in front of all 300 governors we have currently. So you can
Yeah.
still have a large impact with a small amount of currency. The thing is, you just can't crash the system per se, right? If the reason it's not done by account is because we don't want people making 1 million accounts, and then
Yeah.
if it's a vote per account, it can be abused. It's very pure to align incentives directly with the economics of the token. That was why
No,
we chose that route.
definitely. Definitely. This is one of the most structured and most decentralized way of participating in the governance and that you guys have created. And definitely kudos to that. And
Thank you.
we definitely want to learn, as you mentioned about the DAO. So our audience would love to understand first what exactly is a DAO and what is the reason behind like shifting towards the DAO, and definitely we'll come to like what is the idea behind the kin DAO, what is kin DAO, and for sure, yeah, please.
Definitely. So a DAO, I think DAO is a broad term right now. It's being used to cover a lot of things. NFT is in a similar situation, right? A DAO is a new thing that people are starting to use. It has a lot of power behind it, but a DAO in itself, it's just a word, it's just a name. It doesn't mean too much. It's that decentralized autonomous organization. So
Yeah.
the decentralized, that usually comes with the blockchain. When people are making a DAO, they'll call it decentralized because they put it on a blockchain, but that doesn't always mean it's decentralized. Autonomous, is it working on its own? Is it working without you? Are you there pulling strings, or is there actually work being done? Is it working on its own? That's what I call the A in DAO, right? The machine aspect of it, the work it's being done, and the O for organization. Is this a group of like-minded individuals? I think that's the purpose of a DAO, or is at least to get people in a group together who all come around a common cause and have a reason to be around a common cause. So looking at a DAO that way, I'm sure people are very familiar with DAOs that their whole purpose is essentially to be a VC or a hedge fund. And it's like a DAO of insider traders where they have a multi-sig wallet and they all agree on what they want to invest on. But that to me is you can call it a DAO in ways. It's decentralized, but it's a little iffy because it doesn't check all the boxes for me. It's more of a multi-sig wallet than anything, and I think that is it's not doing a DAO justice to define it as that. I think what a DAO is,
Okay.
and the way that we see DAOs used best, is when people are able to provide work. They're able to provide a service in a trustless way. So you can come in, you can offer something, and you don't have to rely on any individual. You know you're going to get rewarded for providing that service. So
Absolutely.
the way that the DAO works on Algogems, if I were to look at it from people analyzing Algogems as a DAO, we have an input into this machine, right? And we have a problem we need to solve. We have a lot of people who want to get verified, and it takes way too much manpower for myself or our team to do it, and time that we could be spent doing other things, right? Like this interview, for example, right? That was our problem we had. We needed to have a scalable solution
Solutions, right?
for scalable solutions for onboarding people, and that's where having something decentralized like our DAO is, where you don't know who the individual is. They can be anywhere. The only limitation is that you have one of these tokens to be able to get involved. Otherwise, we don't know who you are. You're anonymous. I feel like that checks
That's
off the
great.
decentralized box for us. If we go to autonomous and what they're trying to do, the A in DAO, our DAO, they have a job. They know what they need to do. They're trying to make the
Right.
marketplace fees or the volume on the site go up so that they can capture more revenue. And the way that they can do this and the way that they can help us is by verifying effectively. So stamping
Yeah.
approval on people who are worth it and removing people who aren't. So
Yeah.
that job they have, it's very simple, but importantly, there's not anyone on our team in the background putting people into the queue or deciding who goes into the queue. If you opt into an asset and you meet a certain requirements, you're automatically put in there. And
Okay.
after your week
Yeah.
is done, you are automatically given your verification token. So in that sense, it is autonomous. It can work without our devs and our individuals having to go in there after initial setup and having to touch anything. It works on its own, it verifies on its own, and it bans on its own. And it's been working that way for 8 months at this point.
Absolutely. That I believe
Yeah,
this is a really great structure. So
yeah,
just basically I had a little bit of question, like let's suppose anyone who can participate and has that sort of voting rights. So but how would he or she decides to basically vote for him as a verified profile, or is it's a fake profile? Like what is the kind of base around for a user to basically come as a voting right with the voting rights,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, so it's art as well. So it's very subjective, and we've noticed that there are people have many different ideas of what they want to verify, what they consider art, and what they consider something fraudulent or should be banned. So
Yeah.
we reward users, and this is an important part. We reward users who vote for verification if they reach consensus at least 50% of the time. So
Oh.
consensus would be
Mhm.
someone getting verified or someone getting banned, but whatever side of the vote has the majority, that is considered where there is consensus. So for someone to get their profile verified, they need at least 51% of the votes that are cast on their profile in
Mhm.
their favor. If someone doesn't vote, it doesn't count as a negative against them. It just counts as no participation.
Yeah.
Of those users who are is someone coming in and just hitting all thumbs up and voting yes on everybody and voting no on everybody, they're not going to hit 50%. There's enough involved where someone needs to look at a profile and discern whether or not, and this is the big like question for verifying. do you think they're going to be positive for the ecosystem? And the second thing is, do you think they will generate in any way some form of revenue? Because the governors right now are conscious that you have one homepage can only have so much. So you may get verified, but you may not land on the homepage. And
Homepage.
there's a little bit of a tier system, if you will, to people being verified. There's a lot of verified creators, but the spotlighting of them is a separate task that the governors have, where they choose how prominent someone is viewed on the homepage. Something I didn't mention earlier. By default, you only see verified creators on Algogems. So the DAO does directly manipulate and controls what you see as a new user to the site and what you see as a user who any user will see, unless they choose to leave that section of the site. The DAO itself and the importance behind the votes and the way that we make people continuously involved with
Yeah,
the voting system is,
by
first of
incentivizing.
all,
Yeah.
yeah, aligned incentives for the volume. But there's another aspect, which is a newer implication, which we don't really talk about too much, is governors, and a lot of these people are also creators. And I've noticed, as someone goes through the verification process, some of their artworks will sell before they're verified. But
Okay.
governors, people who are some of the most passionate NFT collectors, creators, they get to personally look at every one of these profiles, and it actually leads to increased sales for those profiles as well. So I just wanted to add that there as a little aside. It's
That's
a new interaction we've noticed, but finding these passionate individuals, giving them the power, and then allowing them to make their own choices. They'll say, I'm going to vote to verify them. I like this art. I think it's going to sell well, especially once they're verified. I'm going to buy a piece of it now. So there's a little extra advantage that our DAO
benefit to it,
holders are
right?
enjoying
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, a benefit where you kind of get to be the first to see it. You are someone on the inside. When you hear about those stories of OpenSea doing insider trading and all those types of things, those were people who essentially were doing this job behind closed doors where no one else could see what was going on, and
Yeah.
they were purchasing, they were doing improper things,
Yeah.
you'll call it. Now it's being decentralized to a DAO of 260 users at this time,
Yeah.
and it definitely removes the accountability for us saying, hey, we let so and so win, we chose that this person won. The community decides, the governance
Yeah.
decides, and it's that idea, like the audience is always right. We've really leaned into that, and
Definitely.
it's led us
We are
right this whole time.
we are giving the power to the community, and like creating these sort of opportunities for them to participate. And definitely this is definitely a great structure for sure, without doubt.
Yeah.
And for sure. And but like I wanted to understand about the current sort of, how do you see the Indian market, as we have a lot of our audience from the Indian market itself. And definitely, as we talked in the starting of this interview, like we have seen some of the major Bollywood actors and celebrities coming into launching their own NFTs and a lot of stuff. So, but how Algogems is currently seeing the whole Indian market, and to basically how basically, because based on the stats, like India is one of the major growing market in the whole Web3 space, and one of the most easy to understand and the fastest adopting in Web3 space in India. So, how do you personally see this whole thing?
So I think there's a level of organic growth, which is people coming to Algo Gems because they already know about Algorand, and they don't know about maybe our platform specifically. They knew about NFTs, but I'll call it someone stumbling onto the platform. That is not the way I expect people to get involved with the ecosystem or want to get involved with the ecosystem. This will be not an Algo Gems incentive. We had incentives like this in the past, and they may come back around. But as a new user, and if I'm speaking to an Indian audience, what I would say is there is a lot of interest right now in getting people to participate and be people who test and get rewards for testing. So one of our partners, not our project ourselves, is Headline, and they have a DEX which is on testnet, and they're allowing users who have no algo in their wallet purely on a test net, come in, experience the ecosystem, and get rewarded for participating and using a product. I think I think using a blockchain just for the sake of using the blockchain isn't the right approach. I think the successful people on the chain, they have a problem, they have something they're trying to solve, and blockchain is that tool. I would look at it that way, as it's a tool to amplify or accentuate or remove a barrier to entry by using the blockchain. But so I'd say for Algorand specifically, the chain, I think they do a great job of encouraging new users to come in, whether it's contests or, like I was saying, getting involved in test nets and trials and working through problems on sites. The thing that Algogems does specifically to encourage new users is through contests. So right now, our contests are directly tied to projects we've partnered with. We're encouraging secondary sales, those types of things. As people who are part of the leadership for Algogems, we're very much trying to balance and making sure the governors are happy, and also making sure that we are encouraging and advertising and getting new people to the site, right? We need an influx of new users, or at least a steady user base to keep growing and keep scaling like we want to. So right now we don't have incentives specifically for new users coming to the site. In the past, what we've had is we've encouraged regional based competitions. So our most popular one we did was actually based around Brazil. We did a whole week. We will be doing a whole month this year actually around it. And the idea is bringing people in from a certain region, having them compete in an artistic way. We actually use our DAO to vote on finalists in this. But the idea is you can come in, you can contribute something, and you have a chance of winning a prize and a raffle to win a prize. So I think there's, as far as like onboarding a user, our bread and butter is free to mint. I think that's our biggest draw to a new user, is you can come and make an NFT with, like I'll say it again, 0 algo in your wallet. You just need to sign up on Parawallet, put your seed phrase in. No algo is going to hit your wallet, and you'll be able to make NFTs on the Algorand blockchain through Algogems. So that to me is like our biggest onboarding draw. That's what
one of the
we're
biggest,
usually preaching. Yeah.
one of the biggest in the whole Web3 ecosystem. Like I personally haven't come across this sort of whole model like that you guys are currently using to make this ecosystem a better place. And basically, when we talk about the governance model, using the use cases of gems, and definitely this is one of the very unique model. And definitely Algorand is also one of the base layer which is currently participating and currently beneficial to all of the users that are coming on Algogems for sure. So talking about Algorand, there is what do you see? What is the beauty behind Algo chain overall, and how do you see Algorand growing? As we know, like the ecosystem is really great, and the whole foundation is doing amazing work, and a lot of stuffs is going on. How do you see the whole ecosystem that is on the Algorand chain?
So I would say it's first of all, I'd say we're still in our infancy. We still are. It's still quite early as far as user base and numbers compared to Ethereum. Let's say to speak to the chain itself and what is attractive about it, and maybe to explain why it's not so popular right now, is it's revolutionary technology. It doesn't use EVM. It isn't built off the back of Ethereum. It takes a lot of the good ideas behind a smart contract and ideas Bitcoin led with a decentralized currency, but it very much walks its own path after that. That's part of the reason why you don't see so many dApps on Algorand, is because you just can't copy and paste. You have to actually make something new and different. So Algorand as a technology and it's two different companies actually. There's Algorand Inc., which is fully focused on making the blockchain itself better, which I don't think a lot of people pay attention to, and that's different from Ethereum or Bitcoin. We're not doing improvement proposals, and it's not taking 6 months to get an update in. Updates are happening once every 2 weeks, once every month, and we've gone from our transaction throughput has increased dramatically. We're constantly innovating on the technology side, and on the foundation side. People may not be aware of this, but our governance is actually taking a lot of we took a lot of inspiration from the foundation themselves. The foundation offers a snapshot staking with your Algorand, where you're able to take part in votes that determine certain aspects for the chain, and they reward with a chunk of Algorand to do that service. So I think Algorand's the lead, if you will, from a blockchain standpoint to include
Yeah.
users in the way that the chain grows, but using a DAO in this case where they're choosing what's best for the future of the chain, but they're not impacting the technology. It's something where you have to be very technical, and it takes a deep understanding to determine what's happening with the actual technology of your blockchain. And I think this is an important
Absolutely.
aspect where
Very
you
important.
leave you leave the highly technical decisions and the choices made there to those individuals, but when it comes to a general observation, or something that a layman, and myself included, right, something that I can understand and I can actually have an opinion on, those are the ideas that they give the users to vote on. Similar to Algogems, we're not letting people vote on coding practices. We're letting people vote on something quite arbitrary, which is, what do you think of this profile? Is it verifiable or not? Right? It's something that I could show it to an audience and everyone could have their own opinion on it, and I can't say you're right or wrong. There are some things where it's kind of black and white, and there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, and too many cooks spoil a soup idea, right? Like there's a time and a place for a decentralized community, and I think Algorand does an excellent job of separating what is the focus of like a Google or like a technology company, which is Algorand Inc., and then Algorand Foundation, which is focused on building the ecosystem and incentivizing people to be
Think-
be participants. I talked about it earlier, because it doesn't fork, and it's mathematically impossible for it to fork, or infinitely small, that type of thing, where the to infinity type deal. There's the finality on Algorand is one block. Every block is final. There's no waiting however many confirmations for something to go through. Finality happens on the block, and it happens for such a low amount of energy. I see the actual use case of someone wanting to store data on chain being kind of Algorand's strong suit. I think the technology itself will be the lead for that. We didn't talk about it too much, but Algorand is essentially, if you want a dirty way to think about it, or a non-technical way to think about it, it's like a mixture of Ethereum and XRP, where you have smart contracts like Ethereum has, but you have the memo field and the cheapness that XRP brings. It's kind of like a marriage of those two ideas, where you can do a lot of data storage, you can do a lot of great transactions with near instant finality. The final piece I
But
want to throw on there, and the real thing that brought me in, was actually to do with Silvio Macaulay, the one of the founders behind the Algorand, the founder behind the Algorand blockchain, and really the person who I think is the person who I trust, because when it comes down to it, you and I aren't coding the blockchain. You and I aren't getting deep in there, and we're not going to go through and audit someone's layer one technology. It's too technical to
yeah,
do, and it takes a level of expertise that 99.9% of the public doesn't have. And when it comes to that point, and when you have to put your faith in somebody, which I have done with Silvio Macaulay, the founder of Algorand,
Mhm.
you're trusting somebody who was one of the creators of the zero knowledge proof. He's on that paper in
Oh,
cryptography. He is the second
that's great.
most cited cryptographer in human history. So I put him like right below Turing as far as like all-time cryptography greats go, and that's probably speaking out of I don't know how much Turing was doing with cryptography, but I can confidently say Silvio Macaulay, the founder of Algorand, is extremely passionate about cryptography, and that is, if you want a decentralized chain, you need to start with the guts, with the math, with the technology. And when you're working with someone who invented zero knowledge proofs, I think you're with the right team. So
With the
that's
right
my
person and with the right
yeah,
ecosystem, I would say. And
yes,
definitely, I believe Algorand, the kind of work Algorand is doing, definitely it is ahead of the times in terms of technology, and there is nothing like as it is on the some of the chains such as Binance Smart Chain, like just copy pasting some of the projects and doing stuff.
yeah.
Like this is some different and the different model of decentralization structure over the Algorand, and that is definitely we should have that sort of vision on in the ecosystem overall, and the structure that is is on the Algorand at this point of time, and that is definitely futuristic. And
Yeah.
definitely, I believe that is definitely one of the major thing that people will extract from this conversation. And I definitely believe like all of the things that we mentioned, that you personally explained, like definitely people have now a clear structure what exactly are NFTs, what is and DAO, what is basically Algogems is doing, and how Algorand is one of the major ecosystem that is currently have that sort of futuristic vision in mind. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, Wilder, for giving us all the insights, and this was an excellent discussion. Thank you so
Yeah.
much
Thank
for
you.
that. And just at the end of this thing, like, let's suppose people want to get in touch with you personally, so how they can get in touch with the team, or basically where the community is most active.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of a separation between our communities. I'd say if you want to talk to myself, you want to talk to the team, the fastest way to do that is actually joining our Telegram. You can find all these links if you go to our Twitter and look at our link tree. I'm sure you'll be able to help me out, Nishant, with getting this link into the description somewhere. But there's a lot of easy
Absolutely,
ways. We're very
no worries
accessible
about.
to join our community. I'd say
No,
Telegram and Reddit are where users are coming who aren't involved in governance. I'll say Reddit and Telegram are for non-governance users. Not that there's a limitation, but our Discord, we have a lot of channels that are right now used for discussions about verification, why they're verifying, why they're banning, getting into some of the finer details. If you want to take a look at the governance and you want to maybe understand a little bit what goes on, I'd recommend to join our Discord. Anyone
yep,
can join that as well. We have multiple channels where you'll be able to look through everything that goes on, what all the users are talking about. And yeah, I'd say Telegram and Discord, two best options.
definitely. Thank you so much, Wilder, and we'll put the links into the description, guys, and basically for you guys to join. And basically the website of Algogems, and along with that the foundation's website, Algorand Foundation. And I believe that is definitely what I wanted to have that sort of discussion with you. And personally, I believe this would be a very informative for everyone who is in the ecosystem. And thank you so much.
I would
Yeah,
I would
please.
like to offer to you as well. This isn't a large reward per se, but if you would like to distribute one algo and 10 gems to 10 users, I'll just send you over the 10 algo and the 100 gems, and then for people who are participating, I'll let you
Oh, that's
decide who
great.
gets
That's
them.
great. Thank
But
you so
but
much,
then
Wilder.
then 10 people will have a little bit in their para wallet and can experience it for themselves.
Absolutely. I believe that's one of the best way. And people who, the first 10 people who will be commenting in this interview, so definitely we are going to distribute them these rewards to them. And also
Awesome.
they can personally get in touch with us, and we can distribute these sort of rewards to them. Thank you so much, Wilder,
Awesome.
for this amazing
Yes.
reward. And thank you so much for coming to this interview. It was an amazing discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Good day.